Hi everyone, this is Rebekah Keppel and I'm here for Therm O Web today. And in this video, I'm going to show 5 different ways to use the Gina K designs for Therm O Web products inside travelers' notebooks. So let's get started. So the first product that we're going to use are the Gina K for Therm O Web Fancy Foils, along with the Therm O Web iCraft Deco Foil Liquid Adhesive. And one of the easiest ways to use this adhesive is to use it to accent die cuts. So you already have color and shape on these die cuts, and you can just follow along some of the patterns, fill in some of the shapes, and you can see that's what I'm doing here. You can even draw, so I drew a little heart on the little banners there, but for the paw prints I just filled in the toe pads, and you can even outline like I did on the larger toe pad there. I'm going to show you one more time how I did that. The nozzle tip for the iCraft Deco Foil Liquid Adhesive is very good, so you can do very fine details with it, like these tiny little dots that I'm doing on the heart. And one of my favorite things to do is to add dots along a font. So I'm not that great with a script font, but if I have a die cut like this, I can add some dots of adhesive along the outside. And on the ampersand, I'm going to actually outline the entire outside of the ampersand. And then once everything is dry, we can come in with the foils and really make it shine. So the liquid adhesive is not the Gina K product. It is actually part of the iCraft Deco Foil line, but it pairs perfectly with the Gina K Designs Fancy Foils. So to show you the difference between the liquid adhesive when it's wet and when it's dry, I have let the ones on top, those die cuts on top, are dry. So I'm going to apply some liquid adhesive to this blue paw print die cut and then show you side by side how they look. So I'm going to do the same exact thing that I did on the other paw prints and then show you how different the adhesive looks when it's wet and dry. So the one on the left is still wet. You can see white in the adhesive. The one on the right is dry. It is all clear. It may still feel a bit tacky to the touch, but it is dry, and that's how the foil will be applied. So I'm going to show you on these little dots on the heart. I have little strips of foil left here from covering a foil mate for another project that I wanted to use on this little die cut, and that's all you need. You just need that tiny little strip on the side. Just be careful not to get the spot of the foil that's already been removed stuck to your adhesive, because it will stick pretty poorly. So you want to make sure that you're using a piece of foil that still has color left, and you're just placing it down on top of that adhesive and then rubbing with your finger, and that adheres that foil right to the adhesive. And so the great thing about the Gina K Designs line for Therm O Web is that they have a bunch of great colors. So there's Turquoise C and just so many different colors, and so you can mix and match and coordinate with the colors in your project. And so I'm taking colors to sort of mix and match to this collection that I'm using from Doodlebug and apply foils to the die cuts that way. So you can see here, this little green paw print now has coordinating green foil on it. So that is one way to make some embellishments for your traveler's notebooks that have foil on them. The next product that we're going to use from Gina K for Therm O Web are the premium dye inks. And there are 2 packs available right now. They have 4 cubes in each pack. I love these little ink cubes because you can get a lot of different colors for a great value. And you can use these with the Ranger ink blending tools to pounce some ink on that blending tool and then ink up the sides of your die cuts or your strips of pattern paper, and it gives a lot of depth and dimension to just your flat project. So I like doing this inside traveler's notebooks because I don't want to add tons and tons of bulk with lots of three-dimensional embellishments, but I do want to add some interest. So I'm using a bunch of the different ink cube colors from Gina K for Therm O Web, and a lot of these are just perfectly coordinated to this collection that I'm using, and you can see how adding that little hint of ink around the outside, I just think it adds a really nice touch. It kind of pops the sentiment off the paper, and I think it looks really, really cute. Sometimes you could even go over white and color the text like I've done there, or you could use a coordinating color. The third product we're going to look at are the Gina K for Therm O Web foil mates and fancy foils. Now the foil mates are basically toner designs printed on cardstock, and you can use them with the fancy foils and run them through a laminator and create really pretty foiled designs that you could use as pattern paper in your traveler's notebooks or as mats for photos or to die cut or punch embellishments. The fourth product that we're going to look at are the Gina K for Therm O Web dies, and the rectangle dies are great for card making, but you can also use them in traveler's notebooks. And the largest single stitched rectangle die fits either vertically or horizontally in a traditional traveler's notebook. So I like to use it here to even die cut out my photos. So I have these 4x6 photos that I want to use inside my traveler's notebook. So I'm going to put the die over the part of the photo that I want to crop and run it through my die cut machine, and then I have a perfectly sized photo. For the last product that we're going to look at, we're going to take a peek at the Gina K for Therm O Web cardstock. There are two different color packs, a white pack and a black pack. The cardstock is nice and thick, and I'm going to cut it down with the Gina K dies in some of the smaller double-stitched rectangles, and I'll be able to use those inside my traveler's notebook for matting photos. Okay, so now I have my Therm O Web Memory Runner XL, I have my traveler's notebook, and then I've pulled together all the items that we created in these 5 different products to put together a couple of traveler's notebook spreads. So these were the photos that we had die cut with the Gina K dies, and here is one of the foil mates. It is the length of the traveler's notebook, it's just a little wider. So I'm going to press it all the way to the center of the traveler's notebook, put some memory runner on the notebook itself, then turn the page and trim off the excess. And what you're left with is a really pretty traveler's notebook page that has little green polka dots that are foiled. So I think that this photo is perfect for that side, and I'm going to add a few of the strips of pattern paper that we inked, as well as some of the die cuts that we added some dimensional foiling to. So now that you have all these things pulled together, it becomes very simple to create a really shiny and special traveler's notebook spread using the Therm O Web adhesives and the Gina K Designs line for Therm O Web. And really, it's just a matter of putting a couple of cute dies together. I'm going to use the 3-dimensional Therm O Web Zots. That's my favorite way to pop up embellishments because they are clear, so you're not going to see any white peeking out. I looked at this foil mate, but I had cut it down already, so it wasn't the length of the traveler's notebook anymore, and so I decided to just put the photo straight into the notebook on this side. And now I'm going to take some more of those inked strips and adhere them, and all of the photos and papers are adhered with the Therm O Web Memory Runner XL, which is my favorite tape runner. It gives you a few seconds where you can move things around and nothing rips, but then once you press down, and definitely once it's overnight, it is not going anywhere. So something like a traveler's notebook that's going to be touched and the pages turned, I think it's really great to have a strong adhesive as your tape runner. So, and you can see there I struggled a little bit with the paw print. I was just trying to straighten it up, and so I had to just pull it off the 3D Zot that I had used to adhere it down. But isn't it so much fun that you can have the flat foiling on the left-hand side of the page from the foil mates, and then you have the dimensional foiling on the right-hand side of the page from the iCraft Deco Foil liquid adhesive. So now I'm just going to go in with some stickers from this collection and just add a few things to finish off my spread. And again, I'm just going to use a border sticker, and the easiest way to do that is to lay it down straight and then turn the page and trim off the excess so that everything is nice and lined up on your spread. And so that's one spread that's got a bunch of different foiling effects and Gina K products right on there. So for this piece of foil mate, like I said, it wasn't long enough because I had trimmed it down a little bit. So I decided to cut it in half and use it in the center of this second spread. So again, I'm using my Therm O Web Memory Runner XL to adhere these 2 pieces of foil mate down. And now I'm going to grab some of those pieces of cardstock that we die cut with the Gina K dies. I've decided that all my photos, my mini photos, are vertical, so I'm going to use these vertically and just kind of add some of the other die cuts that we added some foiling to on top. And you can see that we have sort of that blue background with the polka dots, a blue piece of cardstock, and so now I'm trying to get things like red coming in here and there, the orange again as accent colors. And down at the bottom, I'm going to use that ampersand that actually has gold foiling on it. And I'll put both of the dogs' names because this traveler's notebook is all about, we got puppies last year, and so this traveler's notebook is photos of them growing throughout the year. For this sticker or embellishment, I just wanted to show you that if the 3D Zot won't fit behind it, you can cut it in half using some non-stick scissors. I wouldn't recommend using any other scissors other than non-stick because those Zots are pretty sticky, but it works perfectly, and I've trimmed them down to tiny little slivers of 3-dimensional Zots too. So once again, I'm using my Memory Runner XL for all of the paper here, the photos, the cardstock, the foil mates, the strips of pattern paper. I even used it on the die cut there for the little ampersand. Those non-stick scissors come in handy, especially for traveler's notebooks where the size is smaller than 12 by 12. So I had a large border sticker here and I ran it across the entire spread and then just trimmed off the edge. And now I'm going to add the dogs' names before and after our foiled ampersand. So I'm going to start the first name and go backwards because I want it to sort of butt up against the ampersand there. And then the second name, I'll go forwards. I'll go in the correct direction. I'll start at the ampersand and move towards the right. It's just an easy way to make sure that everything is lined up and there's spacing in between all of the letters. And these traveler's notebooks are actually really nice. It's from Webster's Pages and it has a grid pattern on the background. So it's really, really easy to line up your letters. So that's pretty much the second spread. I'm just going to add a few stickers and a couple more die cuts and things like that. But you can see how easy it is to add foiling to your traveler's notebooks when you use the Gina K designs for Therm O Web, foil mates and fancy foils, the inks and the cardstocks, and there's just so much to this line that is so easy to use inside a traveler's notebook. If you're interested in the products that I am talking about today, they will be linked down below. And I wanted to thank you so much for stopping by today and have a great day.